Welcome to the School of Political and Administrative Studies. We are in the midst of a class of public administration. In this class, we would like to throw light on this subject on different sides of public administration, that is various aspects of the subject, but then we must remember this is not simply a subject, it is not simply a dignified discipline, it is also a practice. So, we must look public administration not simply as an area of academic study, intellectual exercise, but also we must look to public administration as an area of activity. It is a profession. Profession means specialized and recognized occupation. Now, the question is, we are going to study public administration, but before public administration, we must look to what is administration, what we exactly mean by the term administration. Unless and until we can have our ideas of administration clear, we cannot proceed further, we cannot move to start our discussion or discourse on public administration. So, forget for the time being that adjective, I mean public. When we say public administration, it is very clear, we can easily understand public is an adjective, whereas administration is a noun. So, for the time being, let us forget that adjective part of our title, I mean the name of the subject or title of the subject. So, it is time to have some ideas about administration itself. As I have just told you, administration is both a subject and a practice, an area of activity. Now, if we ponder about the question of the origin of administration, we find that administration is an activity which is as old as civilization. In other words, we can say it is as old as society. We are living in society, we are a part of the society. We cannot imagine of a society without administration. There must be something which we call administration. There must be some activities which we call administrative activities. So, we must keep in our mind this fundamental fact of our life, the fundamental fact of our existence. In fact, we can remember the words, the wonderful words of Gladden. Gladden, it is better to spell it out, Gladden, Gladden. What he says, it is very interesting. In his book History of Public Administration, he has described administration as the second oldest profession. Mark the line or these words, second oldest profession. The first or the oldest is shamanism, Shamanism. It is the oldest profession. Shamanism means the occupation of some sort of priest who used to make bridge between people and God. So, that is considered to be the oldest profession, but many others opine that prostitution is the in that way it is the oldest profession. And whatever it may be, we can quite easily come to this conclusion that administration or administrative activity is regarded as a very old profession. Now, the question is, it is an activity undertaken in pursuit of conscious purpose. It is an effort requiring a group of persons, each individually carrying out certain definite responsibilities, that is allotted task, which when so performed by all leads to the realization of particular purpose. So, it is a distinct, clearly defined activity in itself and obviously separate from the technical activities or technical functions which are usually carried out. Now, when we are dealing with this subject, or when we are looking to this origin of the very word administration, we find there are two, the expression can be divided into two parts, ad and ministere. These two are Latin words, Latin expression, ad ministere. What does it mean? It means to serve, to be of some kind of service. So, we can see administration is an activity, is a service, is a type of service, and in fact, it occurs at every level in our life. It occurs everywhere. There is administration in family, there is administration in factory, there is administration in any other organization, a shop, a company, a hospital, a college, a university, everywhere we need administration and we find administrative activity. So, when we act administratively or when we do something which may be called administrative, we do it, obviously we can't do it individually, we cannot do it alone. There are many things we can do alone, but when we are engaged in administrative work or when we are acting administratively, we are doing something administrative, we are in a group. What I mean to say, administrative is a group effort, it is not individual effort. It can't be an individual effort, it can't be the result of an individual initiative. There must be a group. So, it is a collective work, it is combined efforts of many persons who have combined themselves in a group in an organized way for the fulfillment of certain common objectives. They have combined themselves in a group. So, it is a group effort, it is a collective effort, and make no mistake, administration, when we are stressing on this point that it is an activity, but when we say it is an activity, we can easily imagine, we can see clearly that there is a process That means, it is a time consuming process involving various aspects of the process, that is various kinds of jobs. The whole process is called administrative process. So, we must keep in our mind that whatever we are doing in a collaborative way, we are doing in a cooperative way, we are doing, to put the matter simply, jointly, maybe 3 or 4 persons, maybe 300 or 400 persons, whatever may be that numerical strength. The fundamental point, and I would like you to hammer it in your mind, hammer the point home, so that we can have clear and candid ideas about the definition of administration. So, administration, number 1, joint effort, combined effort, collaborative, cooperative effort. We can, if we like, we can compose poems alone, we can sing a song alone, we can draw a picture alone, we can do all these things individually, where our wherever our imaginations take us to, we can do those things individually, but we can't do administrative work individually. Administrative work means collective effort, collective endeavor, for what? For the fulfillment of certain specific, well defined, clearly formulated objectives, that is purposes or aims. So, looking to certain interesting examples, we can make the matter more clear and vivid. Often on we find various events are organized by the government, by the non-government organizations. We know so much, we hear so much about Ganga Sagar Mela, we talk so much about Kumbh Mela. Now, all these melas, we know the spiritual character of all these melas, but the point is, just if we look to the organization of those melas, how those melas are organized, how many days are used or consumed in the entire process in organizing different programs, different activities, in organizing different aspects. There is a question of transport, there is a question of water supply, then there is a question of health related various facilities. All these things people can have, they can perform their religious duties. The purpose is to ensure that people can peacefully, or pilgrims who are assembling there, they can do their religious duties in a calm and quiet manner without any kind of disturbance. So, the entire government devotes its machinery for the successfully completing, for the purpose of successfully completing the fair, Ganga Sagar Mela. The fair must be allowed to be held in a fair manner. So, same thing we can say with regard to Kumbh Mela, that is we can easily understand the Mela, that Mela is far more on a larger scale, it is on a larger scale, and it has a very it has its own importance, and it is a matter of academic investigation also. Some years ago, some students from Harvard universities came to Kumbh Mela to study Kumbh Mela as their case study. They thoroughly studied different aspects of Kumbh Mela, not the Kumbh Mela that last we had before that, before the last Kumbh Mela, that I cannot exactly say the year, but Kumbh Mela is a pet topic for research by the students of America and other European countries. So, the thing is that we find administration has been defined by different authorities. In fact, there are many definitions. There are, as we are having a number of authors, so we are having a number of definitions of administration. But what is interesting and instructive at this stage, we can remember Gladden, as I have just some moments ago I mentioned the name of Gladden. He has a very important book, in fact more than one, History of Public Administration, and there is another book. So, he is a much well respected figure in the field of public administration. Now, what he says, administration, he starts with that very word, administration. Administration is a long and slightly pompous word. I mean, apparently gorgeous, pompous means gorgeous, but it has a humble meaning. It has a humble meaning. It means to care for or look after people, manage affairs, is determined action in pursuit of conscious purpose. Mark it, he is defining administration as determined action in pursuit of conscious purpose. That is, the purpose which you have planned in your mind, which you have formulated in your mind, that purpose must be specific, that purpose must be definite. So, administration is determined action in pursuit of a conscious purpose. That is the point uttered, that is those are the wonderful words used by Gladden. Now, we find Luther Gulick. There are some, we have some authorities, we find some authorities who pronounce the word, the name of Gulick is called Gulick, maybe I am not sure. Some says Gulick, G-U-L-I-C-K. How he has defined? Administration has to do with getting things done with the accomplishment of defined objectives. Administration has to do with getting things done. He is defining administration. What is administration? He says administration has to do with getting things done with the accomplishment of defined objectives. So, defined objectives, that means the objectives you have defined, objectives you have fixed, objectives you have finalized. That is called, that is we call defining, that is the task of defining objectives. So, same thing, it actually this is simply the difference of expression, this is simply the difference of language. He says defined objectives, just now we have noted, Gladden says conscious purpose. So, all these things are same. If we come to the recent times, we find a big name, Felix Negro. Felix Negro. He is an internationally acclaimed expert in the field of public administration. Now, what Negro says, administration is the organization and use of men and material to accomplish a purpose. Again, that point, you mark that point. Sometimes we say purpose, sometimes we are using the expression objectives, sometimes we are saying aims, that we can say defined objectives, whatever it may be. We can say conscious purpose, well formulated purpose, all these things are same. Different authorities have defined, that is the normal practice, we all know. The point is same, but they are dishing out the point in different ways. It is their choice, but choice must be within the fixed area. We cannot go beyond that. So, public administration, before public administration, we are trying to clear our ideas about administration. So, in this way we can have quite a number of good number of decent definitions, well thought out definitions. So, finally, we can come to this conclusion that in the broadest sense, how we can, administration is a word which we are using in our daily life. It has become a word of our common parlance. Almost every day when we look to newspapers or when we listen to TV broadcast or radio broadcast, we also react and we say how administration is going, this is the case of administrative failure, or this is the case of administrative excellence. Many things are happening on the stage of international politics, many things are happening on the stage of national politics, many things are happening on the stage of local regional politics. So, wherever or whatever that may be, wherever the things may happen, administration, that subject is always in our mind. So, in this way we find, finally, we can say that administration is a process. Process means involving a series of activities. You start somewhere and you end at some particular point, undertaken by a group of persons cooperating to accomplish some common ends, common goals. This is the definition of administration. So, my purpose in this part of our discussion was to define administration and to see the history of administration, the thing, the work, the administrative job. I have told you it is intimately and intricately interconnected, I mean civilization and administration, or we may say society and administration. The point is that we have heard stories of various famous chapters in the evolution of human history, human life. If we look to Roman history, if we look to the civilization that developed on the banks of river Nile, that is the story of Egypt. If we look to Chinese, or most importantly in our own land, Sindhu civilization, Harappan civilization, everywhere, wherever we look, we find all these are results of administrative activity. Even in this modern age, we often find the tremendous scientific activities undertaken by NASA in USA, ISRO in our country, in the field of, obviously in the field of space research. When the for the first time man landed on moon. That was a historic event. We all call it, it is natural, we will call it a great scientific progress, a great scientific achievement, technological progress. It is an example of technological project progress, but technology is there, science is there, many things are there, but finally it is an example of administrative excellence. So, that shows the importance of administration. We have dealt with that noun administration. When we will add that public to this noun public administration, we will deal with the subject public administration in a proper way. That is all for this session.